Hello everyone, so in this video I'm gonna give you 13 tips for bakery to work more efficiently, because sometimes there's just a few things that you don't know and you just do it wrong. I give you a few tips that I know and which are very helpful. So let's start the video now. Tips number 1 is about when you weight your ingredients. What I would recommend you is you just put apart each ingredient. You put the white flour, whole milk flour, for example, on the other side. You can put the salt and yeast or levain separately or somewhere, but put everything together in the same area, but in each compartment and each different place, just to be sure that you have all the ingredients ready.
If you want to know if your bread is ready to be baked, you need to check if it's proved enough. There is a few techniques, but the first one is usually you press. If it comes back slowly, it's ready to bake. If it comes back very quickly, it's not proved enough. And if it doesn't come back at all and it stays very deep, that means it's overproof. Of course, you have the visual aspect also. It needs to be a little bit round and not flat. If it's flat, it's overproofed. It's a little bit round, it's fine. If it's very round and too small, of course, it's underproofed. So that's the main technique to know if your bread is proved or not. Sometimes you want to make your bread pretty, so you're gonna use something like this, and whatever you want, whatever design it is, you're gonna use some flour. What I recommend is not to use wheat flour, but rice flour. I'm gonna show you why. So this one is rice flour, and this one is wheat flour. We will see after baking. So here's the reason why I don't recommend the wheat flour with the rice flour. Because the rice flour, you can see, is pretty neat. It stays very nice in the bread. When the wheat flour tend to sometimes just disappear with the steam, just fly away. And also the wheat flour, it's gonna bake, so the color change. So if I leave it a little bit longer in the oven, it's just gonna be brown, completely brown, and it's not gonna be pretty at all. So I recommend you not to put wheat flour, but instead put rice flour for much better writing or whatever you want to put. Okay?
Tips number 4 is about putting salt and sugar and the yeast together. So it's totally fine if you do it. Just don't leave it for too long time, because for the example, I put some yeast on the salt and some yeast on the sugar, and I leave it for like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, and you can see after this long time, it just start to melt and turn into pieces and very melting. It's not very good at this stage, so don't do this. But if you just mix it for a few minutes, it's totally fine, don't worry. Tips number 5, I wanted to show you the type of butter that you need for the croissant. So it's some tourage butter. The temperature of melting is 34 to 36 degrees, as you can see, and it's very specific for the croissant. So tourage butter is what you need. Tip number 6, how do you know when your dough is mixed properly? Well, as you can see, this is half mixing and the dough is not very smooth at this stage, but the more it gets mixed, it's getting much more smooth and it doesn't stick at all on the bowl everywhere, and it has pretty nice shape. As you can see, it's like some kind of waves, and you can also hear the bubble clapping. So when you hear this, it's time to stop it. Then you can check, you can stretch the dough and stretch the gluten network. If you can stretch it like this and see almost through it, it's perfect mixing. That's exactly how it's supposed to be.
So when your baking is ready like this, what you can do is open the door of the oven. You can just let dry the bread for maybe 5 minutes, because if the weather today is very humid, the bread is going to be very quickly spongy. So it will help the bread to get a little bit more crunchy. And in the same time, because you open the door, it won't bake much more. So that means you open, the bread doesn't bake more, but it gets dry. So that's very good when the weather is very humid, or if you want to give a little bit extra crunchiness, it's good. So yeah, that's another technique. When you're ready to make some bread, I recommend you to put always the water first in the bowl, and then you can put the flour. Why the water first? Simply because if you put the flour, sometimes it might get stuck. I mean, it's gonna mix, but sometimes the flour gonna stay at the bottom. So it means it makes the recipe a little bit wrong, and sometimes it can be a lot of flour. So when you put the water first, this won't happen. You put the water, you put the flour, and everything is gonna mix together, and you won't have this problem. So that's a tip that you should really do every single time you're gonna mix something. When you do the croissant, what I recommend you is to cut the side when you fold. It will release some strength. It will help to make a better croissant at the end. Like this is the first folding. So I cut each side. Now I'm gonna laminate this way, and I will cut when I will do the second folding. I will show you. So you see now I do the second turn, which is a simple one. When I do, because I'm finished, I just cut the side again to release the strength, and then in the same time you can see the lamination if it's done properly. This is very important to do this also. It will help a lot. And then that's pretty much all for these tips.
Sometimes after you rest your dough, it needs a little bit more strength. So at this stage, what you have to do is shape the dough, but shape it in a way where you make it stronger. You make the dough very strong. You need to shape it a few times on itself, and you can feel in your hand that the dough is getting hard, the dough is getting less elastic, and at this time it means you give more strength. So it's the good point. It's what you have to do to make your dough harder, and then in the oven you will get a nice cut and a very nice shape.
If you want to know the temperature of the water you should have to get the proper temperature of the dough at the end of mixing, you need a calculation. For this calculation, you just take the temperature of your flour, 21 degrees. Take the room temperature also. So it's pretty much 21 degrees also. So what you have to do is, to get the proper temperature, you need to calculate 21 plus 21, the flour temperature and the room temperature, 42, and you take a base temperature. So the base is between 55 to 70. These numbers, it depends on the dough, on the type of dough, and on the season. So for me now it's still winter. So, and for this type of bread, the sourdough normal bread, I'm gonna take 65. So this you can find on internet, probably the base temperature, but 55 to 70. The higher it is, it's for winter. The smaller it is, it's for summer. So I take 65 minus 42. It makes 23. That means my temperature of the water should be 23. At the end of mixing, the temperature of my dough should be exactly like what I want. It means 23, between 23 to 25 degrees. After, it also depends how long you mix the dough, but if you mix the dough in the normal way, it should be the right temperature. When you weigh your ingredients, I will recommend you not to exceed 3%. That means if you have 1 kilo of flour, for example, don't put more than 30 grams. If you have 1 kilo and 30 grams, it's fine. If you have 970 grams, it's okay. Otherwise, you might have too much problem with the recipe because it might be too much different. For example, if you put 3% less flour and 3% more water, it's gonna be not much to manage, but it can be a problem anyway. So now you know, and make sure not to exceed 3%. So when you cut the bread, you can use all the blade just like this, what I sometimes do, or you can use some tools like this and you put the blade here. But what's important is when you cut, you need to get your blade 45 degrees, so not 80 degrees. You don't cut like this, you don't cut like this, but you cut like this. And do not go very deep. You don't need to go like 5 millimeter deep. you just go on the surface. So 45 degree, and that's all. And like this, you can see that there is like an ear, like you say in English, and same here, and that's how it opened, and there is a nice cut. You see? So blade 45 degree and neat and sharp cut. Very easy. Sometimes I can see this, like some people they just cut like they cut the meat. Never do like this. I got another tip, but it's more for professional, this one. It's like when you have some sweets to egg wash, and you have to put the egg on all the sweets. Sometimes you just have a brush and some egg. It takes ages. What you can do, if you don't know, we never know. What you can do is use this. It's a spray for oil sprayer, you can see. But it works very well. But you have to put some egg, very liquid, so you can mix it with a little bit of water and put it in this to make it a little bit more fluid. And then you just spray like this. It's very easy. And everything is covered. The only problem is you might waste a little bit more egg. But if you have hundreds of pain au chocolat and croissant to do, this is the best solution. This is it. Oil sprayer. Well, this is the brand, but there's no sponsor, you know. So this is what you can use. This is the best compromise, I think.
So this is done. Thank you for watching the video. You can subscribe and like the video. It helps a lot, and see you next time. Ciao.